My wife went on a girls' retreat, but ended up at her ex's cabin. She whispered, it was just closure. I opened the photo she accidentally sent. Their wine glasses reflected more than a sunset. I texted back, hope you got the closure you needed. The locks are changed. Her world collapsed in real time. I never thought I'd be the guy standing in the kitchen, staring at a picture of his wife kissing another man. But there I was, Sunday night, still in my work boots, holding my phone like it was ticking. It had been a long day. I'd been out in the field fixing an old AC unit in a little retirement complex in Parma, hands raw from scraping around rusty coils. Came home to silence. House was clean, food in the fridge, everything in its place. Miri always left it spotless when she went away. That weekend, it was her so-called girls' retreat, up by Lake Champlain. Supposedly a break for her and some friends from work. Yoga, wine, sunsets, and deep womanly healing, whatever that means. I didn't question it. I should have. Miri and I had been together for 17 years. Married for 14. She's a high school art teacher. Had that wild, creative streak when I met her. I fell hard. She had this way of making the world feel softer. I worked hard. Dirty jobs, long days, beer on the porch nights. She brought color to that. Watercolor paintings drying on the dining room table, half-read poetry books in the bathroom. Her laugh echoing through the kitchen while she cooked those complicated French dishes with names I still can't pronounce. We made it work. At least, I thought we did. She started talking about the retreat a couple of months back. It'll just be me, Eloise, Jeannie, and Tanya, she said, stirring lentils on the stove. Eloise's cousin owns a cabin up there. Gorgeous view of the lake. No cell signal. No pressure. Just the girls. I shrugged. Sounds peaceful. You don't mind? Why would I mind? She smiled like she was proud of me for being cool about it. I knew you'd be chill. Some men get weird about their wives going away for a weekend. I kissed her on the cheek. Have fun. Bring me back one of those maple syrups they make up there. She laughed. You and your sweet tooth. That was 2 weeks ago. She left early Friday morning. Her little Volvo packed with a duffel bag, yoga mat, and that damn polka dot robe she loved. I helped her load up, handed her a thermos of coffee, and kissed her goodbye in the driveway. She smiled at me, touched my face like she was memorizing it. Be safe, I said. I will. I love you. Love you too. Then she pulled away, waving through the windshield. That was the last time I saw the version of her I thought I knew. The weekend went by quietly. I cleaned the gutters, watched the Browns lose another game, even sorted the junk drawer in the kitchen, something she always nagged me about. Bethia, our daughter, called Saturday night. Said she was going out with friends in Pittsburgh. I told her to be careful, and she said, don't worry, Dad, I'm not 16 anymore. I chuckled. Still feels like you are. Sunday evening rolled around. I was on the couch, flicking through a movie I wasn't really watching when I got the text. It was from Miri. No caption, just a photo. At first glance, it looked innocent. A lake reflecting the sunset, orange and pink hues painting the water. 2 wine glasses on a weathered wooden table. Romantic, even. I figured she'd meant to send it to one of her friends. I was about to put my phone down when something caught my eye. The reflection. In the curved glass of the wine closest to the camera, you could see a man's arm. Not a woman's. A man's. Thick wrist, flannel shirt, masculine build. The other glass reflected her face, tilted toward the figure. Lips inches away. Smiling. Soft. Intimate. I stared at it for a long time, not breathing. My mind flipped through every possibility. Was it a joke? A coincidence? Did I misread it? Then it hit me. That wasn't a photo for the girls. That was a moment she wanted to remember. A moment she accidentally shared with the wrong person. Me. I didn't text her right away. I got up, walked around the house like it could give me an answer. I opened the fridge, then shut it. Stood in the doorway of our bedroom. Looked at her jewelry on the nightstand. The lotion she used every night. My hands were shaking when I typed it. Hope you got the closure you needed. The locks are changed. I hit send and dropped the phone on the counter like it burned me. It buzzed almost immediately. Wait. What? Colton, what are you talking about? That wasn't for you. Then the phone started ringing. I didn't answer. It rang again. Then another text. Please don't do anything crazy. I can explain. It was just closure. I had to see him. It was unfinished. Please don't tell Bethia. That last one snapped something in me. It wasn't the betrayal. It was the manipulation. The calm calculation. She wasn't sorry. She was in damage control mode. I turned off my phone. Walked to the garage. Pulled out the spare locks I kept in a plastic tub from a job last year. Changed every damn one. Front, back, side gate. Even the garage keypad. Then I started packing her things. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just packed. Her clothes, her shoes, her books, her stupid yoga DVDs, her paints. The only thing I left untouched was a framed picture of our family at the beach in 2010. She could take that herself. Let her look at the woman she used to be. Monday morning, I was at work before sunrise. When I came home around 6, her car was in the driveway. She was sitting on the porch steps, hugging her knees, wearing that same polka dot robe. She stood when I walked up, eyes red, face pale. You changed the locks, she said. I didn't respond. Just walked past her, key in the door. Please, Colton, just let me talk to you. I held the door open a few inches. You talked enough with him. It wasn't what you think. Oh, then tell me what it was. She hesitated. I needed closure. I laughed, bitter and loud. Closure? You whisper that kind of closure into someone's mouth. She winced. He reached out to me a month ago, said he was going through a divorce, said he needed someone to talk to. I didn't want to respond at first, but I did. You planned this. No, I didn't. I swear I didn't. It just happened. Let me guess. 1 minute you're talking about old times. Next minute you're on a dock sipping Pinot Noir and reliving your greatest hits. Don't do that. Do what? Mock me. Make me into a villain. I'm not mocking you. I'm just seeing you clearly for the first time. We stood in silence for a beat. Then she said, softer, please don't throw everything away. We can fix this. I didn't throw it away. You did. With him. She looked down, tears pooling in her eyes. I expected her to beg more, plead. But she just nodded. Can I at least get some of my things? They're in the garage. She walked around the house slowly, like every step hurt. I watched her from the living room window. Watched her carry the boxes to her car, one by one. She looked smaller than I remembered. When she was done, she walked back to the front and stood at the edge of the porch. I never stopped loving you, she said. I looked her in the eye. I think you did. You just didn't notice. She didn't say anything else after that. Just got in her car, started the engine, and sat there for a moment, hands on the wheel. Her headlights cut across the lawn as she backed out of the driveway and disappeared down the street. The silence after she left was different. It wasn't peaceful. It was jagged, like standing in a house that just barely survived a tornado. Technically still standing, but nothing was the same. And sure as hell didn't feel safe. That night, I couldn't sleep. I laid in bed with the TV on mute, watching infomercials with fake smiling hosts selling miracle creams and copper pans, trying to drown out the noise in my head. I kept seeing her face, the way she looked on that porch. Not angry, not even defensive, just like she'd already mourned us before I even knew we were dying. That hurt more than anything. Over the next week, word spread faster than I thought. Not because I said anything, but this town's like that. Cleveland's suburbs are big enough to lose someone in traffic, but small enough to run into their cousin at the grocery store. Bethia called again Thursday night. Mom's not answering my texts, she said. She okay? I paused. She's alive. She just has a lot to think about. There was a silence on the line. Then she asked, quietly, did something happen? I had two choices in that moment. Lie to protect her, or give her the truth and let her decide what to do with it. She lied to me, I said. Went up to a cabin with someone from her past. Not one of the girls. Some guy she used to date. Another pause. Then she cheated. I exhaled. Yeah, seems like it. Bethia didn't speak for a while. Then, her voice thick, she said, God, Dad. I'm so sorry. She sent me a photo by accident. I said, can you believe that? Jesus. She told me it was just closure. Like that makes it better. Are you okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. Honestly, I've just been working, thinking, sleeping with one eye open. We both chuckled a little, but it was hollow. Bethia said she'd come visit soon. I told her there was no rush. Truth is, I didn't want her stepping into this mess just yet. She was in a good place, had a job, her own life, her own friends. Let her have that for a bit longer. 2 weeks later, I saw Roan. I hadn't expected it. I was at the hardware store, picking up some drywall anchors, when I turned down an aisle, and there he was. Mid-40s, salt and pepper beard, wearing one of those stupid wool shirts that look like they belong in a Patagonia catalog. Our eyes locked. He froze like a deer. I kept walking. Part of me thought about brushing past him, not saying a word. But I didn't. I stopped about 5 feet from him. You're Roan. He nodded. Yeah. I looked him over. He had this vibe, like a guy who thinks he's deep because he listens to Nick Drake and owns a canoe. I hated him instantly. I'm Miri's husband, I said. Or was. He swallowed hard. Colton. Right. Yep. You know, I used to think it took two people to destroy a marriage. Now I know sometimes it just takes one idiot with bad timing. I didn't mean for, you don't need to explain it to me, I interrupted. But if you ever come near my daughter, even by accident, I swear to God, Roan, I wouldn't, he said quickly. I swear. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I shook my head, snorted. You just wanted closure too, huh? He looked down. Didn't say a word. I walked away. By December, I'd finally stopped waiting for her to call. I'd handed her the papers and hadn't heard a peep since. Her attorney reached out. We split the assets as cleanly as we could. She kept the Volvo, the paintings, her retirement account. I kept the house, my truck, and the business. It was sterile, cold, like dissecting a frog in high school, methodical and messy, all at once. Sometimes, I'd catch myself standing in the garage, looking at the spot where her easel used to be. Other times, I'd walk through the aisles of the grocery store, reach for something, and suddenly remember, wait, she liked that, not me. You don't just lose a person, You lose their choices, their preferences. The soundtrack of your life shifts. Then came Christmas. Bethia came home. We made lasagna, just the two of us, like we used to when Miri was out grading exams. It felt good, familiar. We laughed, told dumb stories from her childhood, played cards until midnight. That night, sitting by the tree with a glass of scotch, she asked, "You think you'll ever forgive her?" I shrugged. "I don't know. I don't know if I can." "You don't have to," I said. "That's not your job." She looked at me. Still feels like a betrayal. Of me too. I didn't say anything. Just nodded. It was true. Miri hadn't just stepped out on me. She walked out on our whole unit. Our history. Like she'd been drafting a different version of her life in the background, waiting to hit print. I started therapy in January. Just once a week. Local guy named Vernon. Ex-military, wore plaid ties, had a voice like an old record. "What do you want out of this?" he asked in our first session. "Clarity," I said. "Maybe some peace." He smiled. "Then we've got a place to start." We talked about anger, trust, memory. He said something one week that stuck with me. "People don't usually fall out of love," he said. "They just stop choosing each other. Little choices over time." That hit me harder than I thought it would. Because I realized Miri had stopped choosing me long before she drove up to that cabin. In March, I got a letter. From her. Handwritten. 3 pages. She didn't ask for anything. Just said she wanted me to know she was sorry. That she was in therapy too. That she didn't expect forgiveness but hoped I could find peace. I read it twice. Then I put it in the bottom drawer of my nightstand and haven't opened it since. And then something happened I wasn't expecting. Someone new. Not romantically. Not yet. Her name's Rowan. She owns a used bookstore 2 streets over from my office. I went in there looking for a copy of To KLL A Mockingbird for Bethia. Ended up talking to her for an hour about Steinbeck and old Cleveland architecture. She's got this calm about her. Doesn't push. Doesn't pry. Just listens. We've had coffee a few times. Nothing big. Nothing labeled. But it's something. It reminds me that life doesn't freeze just because your heart broke. I still think about Miri. Not every day, but some days. I wonder if she's happy. If she regrets it. If Rome was worth it. But more than that, I wonder about me. Who I'm becoming. What I'll carry forward. And what I'll finally learn to let go. A few weeks passed. March gave way to April, and Cleveland started thawing. You could smell the soil again. You could hear birds in the morning that weren't there a month before. There was something weirdly poetic about it. Life trying to start again, even if no one asked it to. That's kind of how it felt for me. I'd go to work, knock out a couple jobs, stop at Rowan's bookstore for coffee, maybe talk about a novel she thought I'd like, and then come home to silence. And I was okay with that. Silence wasn't so bad anymore. It didn't feel empty. It just felt like mine again. But then, one Tuesday evening, the past knocked on my door again. Literally. I was eating dinner, leftover chili and cornbread, watching a documentary on steel factories in Youngstown, when there was a knock on the front door. I opened it. Miri stood there. She looked different. Not worse. Just real. No makeup. Hair tucked into a beanie. Jacket too big for her frame. She looked smaller than I remembered. "Hi," she said. "Hi. I know I shouldn't be here." "You're right." She nodded. "I won't stay long. I was driving by and I saw your truck in the driveway, and I don't know, I guess I just wanted to see what the damage looks like from the outside." Her mouth twitched like she was trying not to cry. Something like that. I didn't invite her in. I leaned on the doorframe and waited. She shifted on her feet. "You look good. You don't need to say that. It's true. You didn't come here to compliment me, Miri. What do you want?" She looked down at her hands. "I don't know. I thought maybe I could just see you. Talk. We talked. You chose him. I chose peace. That's pretty much all there is. I didn't choose him. You went to his cabin. I didn't stay. You drank wine. Took a picture. Got caught. You think I care whether you stayed the night or not?" She flinched. I didn't move. My hand was tight on the edge of the door, knuckles white. "I think about what I did every day," she said. "I think about how fast I wrecked the only thing that ever made me feel like I was home." "Don't do that," I said. "Don't come here looking for absolution. That's not what this is. I'm not asking for forgiveness." "Then what are you asking for?" She paused, eyes shining. "I guess. I just wanted you to know I see it now. All of it. The way you showed up. Every day. For years. I thought love had to be wild, like a storm. But you were a steady fire. And I let it go out." I swallowed the lump in my throat. Her words weren't false. They were maybe the truest thing she'd said in a long time. But it didn't change anything. "I kept waiting to feel angry," I said. Like really, throw a chair angry. But it never came. "You know why?" She shook her head. "Because it was already broken. You just lit the match. But the cracks? They were there. We stopped being partners somewhere along the way. We stopped checking in. And when that happened, you started checking out." "I should have told you," she whispered. "Yeah, you should have." She wiped her nose with her sleeve. I noticed her hand was shaking. "I'm not with Roan," she said suddenly. "Okay." I blocked him. Right after I left your house that night. Haven't spoken to him since. "That's not for me," I said. "That's something you need to live with, not me." We stood in silence for a moment. A neighbor's dog barked in the distance. The wind kicked up, blowing a dead leaf across the porch between us. Finally, she asked, "Do you hate me?" I looked her in the eye. "No," I said. "I just don't believe in you anymore." That hit her hard. I saw her chest rise, her chin tremble. She nodded again, like she was tucking that sentence away somewhere inside. "I'm sorry," she said one last time. "I know." And then she turned and walked back to her car. I stood there, watching her drive off, headlights fading into the dark. The next day, I told Vernon, my therapist, about the visit. "She just showed up," I said. "How did it feel?" he asked. "Like a ghost walked into my living room. And now, I think, I think I'm finally done waiting for her to understand. I think I just needed to hear myself say it." He nodded. "Closure, then." I smirked. "Yeah, real closure. Not the kind that comes with wine glasses and a sunset." Rowan noticed something had shifted in me the next time I saw her. We were sipping coffee in the back of her store while she restocked a shelf of used biographies. "You're quieter today," she said. "Just tired. Long week." She didn't push. "After a few minutes," I said. "My ex came by yesterday." Rowan nodded, waited. "Wasn't planned. Just showed up. Said some things. Apologized. Did it help? I don't know. Maybe. But I didn't feel what I thought I would. No spark. No old feelings. Just the end of something." She smiled softly. "That's still something." I looked at her. She wasn't the type to fill silence with fluff. She was the kind of woman who let things breathe. That was new for me. "I like talking to you," I said. She smiled, a little shy. "I like listening to you." Later that week, I found myself looking through old photo albums. I don't know what I was looking for. Maybe trying to pinpoint the moment things started to unravel. Or maybe just reminding myself that it wasn't always bad. There were real memories in there. Real smiles. Real love. But even the clearest photos fade. I closed the album, placed it back in the drawer, and stood up. Outside, the first real spring rain was starting to fall. Gentle, steady, unassuming. Kind of like the peace I'd been learning to make with myself. A few days after the rain, Rowan invited me to help her with a small book donation event she was organizing for a local elementary school. I almost said no. Not because I didn't want to be there, but because part of me still felt like I wasn't fully back in the world. Like I was half living in the shadow of the past, even if I'd stopped carrying its weight around every day. But I went. And for the first time in a long while, I laughed, really laughed, watching a group of second graders pick through stacks of books like they were looking for gold. Rowan handed me a box of Dr. Seuss titles and smiled. "You've got good energy with kids." I shook my head. "Nah, I'm just the guy with the beard and the truck who lifts heavy stuff." "They trust you," she said simply. That caught me off guard. Because somewhere between divorce paperwork and lonely dinners, I'd forgotten I was still the kind of man people could trust. After the event, we sat in her car while the windows fogged over, eating cheap sandwiches and talking about things that didn't involve pain. She told me about her mom, who used to run a flower shop, and her dad, who passed away when she was 20. I told her about how Bethia once tried to fix my truck with duct tape and a Barbie shoe when she was 5. "Do you ever want more kids?" Rowan asked quietly, not looking at me. I stared out the window for a second. "I don't know. I used to think one was enough. But lately, I've started thinking less about what I had, and more about what I never let myself imagine." She nodded like she understood. And she did. That's what I liked about Rowan. She didn't need to fill silence with words. She just sat in it with you. That kind of stillness was rare. But even as things felt like they were shifting forward, the past had a funny way of tugging on my sleeve. It came in the form of a voicemail from Miri. I was driving back from a job in Shaker Heights when I saw the missed call. No caller ID. Just a 2-minute message. I pulled into a parking lot and played it. "Hey, it's me. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from. But I didn't know who else to talk to. My mom's in the hospital. She had a stroke. I'm scared, Colton. I know we're not anything anymore. But you always knew how to keep me grounded. I needed to hear your voice. That's all." I sat in my truck, engine off, fingers drumming the steering wheel. I hadn't heard that side of her in months. Vulnerable. Unfiltered. She sounded like the woman I used to love before everything got complicated. And it made me feel things I wasn't ready for. Not love. Not anger. Just human. That night, I called her back. She answered on the second ring. "Hey," I said. There was a long pause. "You called. You sounded wrecked. Figured you could use a friendly voice." "She's stable now. In the ICU. They don't know how much damage yet." "I'm sorry. Thanks." More silence. Then she added, "I didn't mean to drag you back into anything." "You didn't," I said. "This isn't about us. It's just me being decent." She let out a shaky breath. "I miss that. I'm sure you do. I keep trying to picture your life without me in it. I thought I'd be okay. But I'm not." I didn't say anything. "I see your face everywhere," she said. "In stupid things. Like an old mug. A parking spot. The way someone smells like sawdust at the grocery store." I closed my eyes, forehead resting against the steering wheel. "You're not the only one who remembers," I said. "But you don't miss me?" I hesitated. "Not in the way you want me to." She didn't cry. I thought she might. But she just said, "That's fair." The next few weeks were weird. I didn't see her, didn't talk to her again. But that call lingered. It changed something, not between us, but inside me. I stopped needing her to admit she was wrong. She already had. I stopped waiting for her to fix something unfixable. I'd started building something new. Not just with Rowan, but with myself. Bethia came into town a few days later. We had dinner at a little Italian place she liked as a kid. She called me. Bethia said over breadsticks. "Your mom?" "Yeah." "Told me about grandma. Told me about everything." I raised an eyebrow. "Everything." "She didn't sugarcoat it," she said. "Didn't blame you. Just told the truth. Said she didn't deserve how good you were to her. Said she hopes someday I can forgive her." I chewed slowly. "What do you think?" "I think people screw up," Bethia said. "But I also think some people stay in the fire too long because they're scared to feel the cold." "You stepped out." "She didn't." I looked at her, my daughter. "Strong, sharp, steady. You didn't just inherit your mother's face," I said. "You got her depth too. But you got my backbone." She smiled. "That's why I wear boots and read poetry." That weekend, Rowan and I drove out to Cuyahoga Valley just to walk. No pressure. Just fresh air, muddy trails, and the sound of water running over stones. At one point, she stopped and looked at me. "You're different lately," she said. "Better or worse?" "More open," she said. "Like you're not holding your breath anymore." I didn't answer right away. Instead, I picked up a smooth stone from the edge of the trail and handed it to her. "What's this for?" she asked. "Just thought you'd like the way it feels. Solid, worn smooth by time." She turned it over in her hand, then looked at me. "I think I'd like to see where this goes," she said. So would I. Back home that night, I got another letter. From Miri. Shorter than the last one. A single page. She'd moved. Took a job at a community college out of state. Said she needed a clean start. Said she hoped we could someday sit across from each other without so much history in the room. Said she'd leave that hope in my hands. I folded the letter and slid it into the drawer with the first. Not to keep. Just to remind myself that even broken things can be buried kindly. Spring melted into summer, and for the first time in what felt like years, I wasn't just surviving. I was moving forward. Slowly, carefully, but forward. I spent more time with Rowan. Not rushing anything. Just letting something grow without forcing it. She respected space. She didn't ask for labels. She didn't try to compete with my past. And that alone made her feel like the future. Bethia visited more often too. She brought stories from her office, her frustrations with dating apps, and she even made dinner once. Burnt chicken. But damn if it wasn't the best meal I'd had all year. We laughed. We healed. Together. And then, something unexpected happened. Miri emailed me. She said she was coming back to Cleveland for a few days to deal with the last of her mother's estate. Asked if we could meet for coffee. No pressure. Just to talk. I stared at the email for a long time. Then, after a few hours of thinking, I typed back, "Sure." Thursday, 3 p.m. Vintage Grounds. When I walked into the cafe, she was already there. She wore a pale green blouse and that necklace I'd given her for our 10th anniversary, the one with the tiny sapphire drop. For a split second, I felt my chest tighten. Not from pain, just the ghost of an old habit. "Hey," she said, standing up slightly. I nodded and sat down. "You look well." "You do too," she said. "Really well, actually." The barista brought over my black coffee and her oat milk latte. We sat in silence for a moment. "So," she said, "I've been thinking a lot about what happened. About everything I threw away." I sipped my coffee and said nothing. "I made a mistake," she continued. "A huge one. And I know I've said sorry 100 ways, but I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed to face it. To face you." I set my cup down. "Why now?" I asked. She looked out the window. I hoped you'd still be angry. Because if you were angry, it meant you still cared." I let that sit. Then I said, "I'm not angry, Miri. I'm free." Her lips parted slightly. "Free. I spent so long trying to be the man you wanted. Stable, reliable, forgiving. But I realized something these last few months. I wasn't the one who needed to change. I was already enough. You just didn't see it." Her shoulders dropped. "I see it now." "Too late," I said evenly. "You gambled what we had for someone else. For a fling, or whatever it was. And you lost. I didn't come here to win you back." I nodded. "Good. Because I'm seeing someone. Someone who sees me." That stopped her. I watched her eyes flicker. Not with jealousy exactly, but something close. Regret, maybe. The full weight of her choices hitting her all over again. "I'm happy for you," she said quietly. "Truly. I'm not here for revenge, Miri. I'm not here to make you feel small. But I will tell you this. It's a strange kind of justice to be the one who walks away clean." She blinked, swallowed hard. "You deserve to be happy." "I am." She nodded. "Okay." We stood to leave. "Take care of yourself," I said. "You too," she replied. Then paused. "Is it weird that I still love you in a way?" I smiled. Not cruelly, not smug. Just calmly. "It's not weird. It's just not mine to carry anymore." And with that, I walked out. A few weeks later, Rowan and I hosted a little backyard dinner. Just close friends. A string of lights over the patio. Bethia brought her new boyfriend. I grilled steaks. There was wine, music, and even a few quiet moments of dancing. At one point, Rowan leaned her head on my shoulder and whispered, "You seem lighter." "I am," I said. And it was true, because revenge didn't come with slamming doors or explosive confrontations. It came in the quiet, in the rebuilding, in the way I lived so fully after she tried to bury me in silence. The best revenge? Living better. Without her.